Hello YouTube, this is Ty from the Gaming Helm, and this week I thought I'd explore the realm of a new game that came out not so long ago, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Now I myself, when I first saw this game, had deep reservations about playing it because it felt like just a straight-up rip-off of Assassin's Creed. But even after I saw one of my best friends, Matt Howell, play the game on his PlayStation 4, lucky son of a bitch, he got a PS4 and I don't, it actually intrigued me a little bit. And unlike the traditional Tolkien stories like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, this is a rated R action game, not PG-13. No, this one is violent and it does not apologize for it. After playing it myself, I found that this game is not so much a ripoff, but more like a clone of the Assassin's Creed format. All the way from the enemy's awareness meter, to the combat, to the sneaking around, and everything else in between. So sit back and enjoy this segment of the Gaming Helm, Lord of the Creed.
La 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 la. Oh my god, this song is so freaking awesome. La 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 la. And this game is pretty cool, so you better play it too. La.
We love you, YouTube. Good night. Woo! The beginning of this game puts you, the character, assuming the role of a Gondorian ranger named Talion, and you begin the game as a standard story tutorial, just teaching you the ins and outs of the combat. Where are you? You're on the Black Gate, which is the boundary or border between Gondor and Mordor. And it's innocent enough. You're just teaching your son how to become a ranger, learning yourself, the player, the ins and outs of the game's combat. But then the game goes quickly to shit as the Black Gate is attacked by Uruks and Orcs, and without giving too much away, your character, unfortunately, is murdered. But then his soul is quickly bonded with a long-since-dead elf, turning you into a wraith, which I think is pretty cool. Now, unlike traditional elves, this guy is not gonna win any beauty pageant. Sure, his armor looks good, but if you get a close look at his face, it's pretty ugly. But being a wraith, you get many interesting abilities. Unlike Assassin's Creed, you don't need a haystack to prevent yourself from jumping to an instant death. Now, sneaking around, hiding in bushes and stuff like that is identical to Assassin's Creed. The only difference is, this one is much more brutal and a lot more satisfying. Just look at him hack that bitch up. As a wraith, you get a rich variety of abilities. Unfortunately, you don't get them right off the get-go. It works as the elements of an RPG. You have to get experience, and you spend experience points to upgrade your character. Although I will say this, when your sword glows bright blue, it basically turns into the prehistoric equivalent of a frickin' lightsaber. Which is pretty awesome. No one's ever gonna not want to have one of those. Brutal, like I said before, this game does not apologize for any of its violence. Yes, this sure takes me back to my Final Fantasy days. Ooh, another brutal kill for the tally. Yeah, you can't see it, but that sword totally came out his mouth there. Also, as a wraith and as an elf wraith on top of that, you are an archer. You can slow down time with your focus meter, and making lining up headshots that much easier.
Son of a bitch shot me. Hey, asshole! Here's some wood you could suck on!
Now, apart from brutal killing your enemies, or stealth killing your enemies, you have, as a wraith, a very interesting ability, which is very innovative in this game. You can brand your enemies and turn them into your loyal slaves. Doing this makes it possible for every low-level grunt all the way up to the high-ranking war chiefs. Doing this will give you the ability to gain information on specific war chiefs, captains, lieutenants, on strengths, weaknesses, how powerful they are, or where they're even hiding on the map. Which is pretty handy because there are some levels and quests in this game that require you to hunt down chieftains. And the ones that are in shadow silhouettes, those are the ones you have absolutely no information on. Let's see what happens with this guy. Oof. He looks pretty bad. Yeah, bad news there. Let's go find him and kill him. I should say with the ones that have light coming out of their head, they're mine. I've been busy in this game. I've gotten quite a few orc officers as my slaves. Now what should I do with this guy? Who we killing? Let's kill him. Boom! Bye-bye, head. Now, let's find that jerk-off. There he is. Like Assassin's Creed, you get a similar thing that's not called Eagle Sight, it's Wraith Sight, making it possible for you to sniff out where intended death enemies or orc officers are hiding. Pretty easy to see through crowds. If you challenge an orc officer directly, they will challenge you and give a bad guy monologue speech before the fight really begins. They're a lot tougher than the average orcs, as would suggest with their officer status, and even using your instant kill moves will not put them down immediately. It will drain their health severely, yes, but it won't kill them. Each orc officer, captain, and chieftain has special abilities, and you can't even brand them right off the get-go until they're weak enough. Problem is, by the time they're low enough for you in health to turn him into your little slave, usually his buddies show up to back him up. It's a lot harder, but at the same time, if you have an orc captain as your loyal slave, it makes it a lot easier later on in the game. But in this case, I killed this SOB, and when an orc officer dies, he drops a special rune, which can be used to upgrade one of your 3 weapons. In this case, it was the dagger. And if it's a rune that you don't really need, you can just sell it for more experience points, which can help upgrade your character that much quicker. Yeah, you're not getting away, pal. I should also mention, if you were to hypothetically die in this game, that is a really bad thing. Because even the low-level orc who somehow did you in could become a promoted captain as a result of your death. At the last second, you have a split second to move your icon within the boundary and hit the randomly generated button to prevent an instant death hit. But it's not that easy, and, well, it really just gives you a fraction of your health back. That way you can make a quick getaway. And if you get you, you're dead. And that son of a bitch who killed you now will give his little last second speech before the lights go out. And in the process, like I said, he will be promoted. Not just him, too. Several other orc captains and war chiefs might also go through a rash of upgrades and promotions. It's pretty interesting because it gives every single bad guy you encounter a sense of individuality, a character, a sense of story. Now, look at them. Boom! New armors, new weapons, stronger abilities. Oh, look at that. He just got upgraded, too. Now, in this particular case, it works more or less to my advantage because the majority of the officers on the board are on my side. But let's say for argument's sake they weren't, which means all these guys just got tougher, just got promoted, got more weapons, more strengths. And look at this guy, the dude that just did me in, he got promoted twice, and he got a huge power increase. Not to mention it also brings on a new unknown officer, which I have no idea who he is or where he's hiding. Well, you've heard it here, you've seen it for yourself, you heard the testimony, you've seen the gameplay. Now, it comes time for the rating system. Because it's not an original idea, it's a fresh take on something that's already been done, sure, but not an original idea, I give this game an enthusiastic 7.5 out of 10. It kept me interested from start to finish, and on top of that, you'll definitely get at least, including if you go after all the side quests, a very satisfying 20 plus hours of gameplay. That's what I'm looking for in most cases. If I'm going to shell out 60, 70 bucks for a video game, I want it to last longer than the standard 8 hours. So well done to Shadow of Mordor. Yes, and it is still an Assassin's Creed clone, but it was really well done. Well done. And in this game, you meet a rich cast of new characters to the story, a couple of familiars, including a certain My Precious. Oh, you might or may not see that little gangly bastard running around. And it really just broadens the whole Middle-earth story arc. It takes place in between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings in that 60-year gap, and it has nothing to do with Frodo or Bilbo. It's a fresh take. Ground unstartled, and, new horizons. I like that when creators like to become a little bit more innovative, do something that hasn't been done yet. Tapped well. Okay, that was some terrible grammar. You get my point, though. All right, 7.5 out of 10. Yeah. Now, I should state for the record that I am going on vacation next week, so the next video might be a little bit late coming out. I might try to rush a new video to the channel, but I want to get the majority of the video done first. Not to mention, I want to put in the quality that you guys like so much, so it might be a little bit late coming out, or depending on how much free time I get, I'll rush this one onto the channel. I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to try to put the time and effort into it. So thanks a lot for tuning into this new installment of the gaming home, the Helm. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you next time. Take her easy.